looking at the video and I'm thinking, first thing I thought was, oh no, Ronnie's giving me my introduction. I gotta think back here. Did I ever do anything to Ronnie? I know a lot of coaches really weren't big fans of mine when I played. So, Ronnie, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Ronnie. Listen, first thing, obviously, congratulations, Digger. I never got to know Digger that well, but what you see is what you get. Every time you see the guy, he shows up with a smile on his face, and you know, when you're playing in these tournaments, whether it's the Olympics, the World Cup, or any international events, short period of time, and you're so focused, and to have guys like that around, it's just it's invaluable. And congratulations, Digger, well deserved. Thank you. Angela, I mean, just a groundbreaker. There's no other word to describe it. I remember in '98, Lecce, you guys remember it wasn't such a great tournament for us in '98, but I remember being huddled around the television set in our lounge of play-arounds, and watching the women win the gold medal, and we were so proud. Watching you guys, we're so proud. Congratulations, very well deserved. Drew, I played in one team with Chris in Torino in 2006. We had a great team. It was a disappointing tournament for us, there's no question. But got to know him for the first time. Since then, we've become great friends. Our wives are great friends. We lived a half mile from each other in Manhattan Beach, and amazing family. Very proud, Chris, to call you a friend. I'm a little disappointed that I'm now going to have to hear about the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame and the Calder Cup and the Hobie Baker and I mean, you can't have lunch with the guy without listening to all these stories. No, everyone up here is they're the most humble people that you'll meet, and I think anyone that's in here that's around hockey that knows any of the people that have been inducted here feels the same way about anyone that's here, and it's just a tremendous trait of all hockey players, all hockey people. There's no question about it. Bob, Jerry, congratulations. You know, obviously well deserved. Thank you very much to the selection committee. Obviously, it's a tremendous honor being up here, and this is why we're here, right behind us. You know, my best friend from when we have pictures when we were in a crib together. Our fathers went to high school, played football together in Rhode Island, and he was living in Connecticut. I was in Rhode Island. You know, we'd spend summers together. They had a summer house in Rhode Island. And the year I won the Stanley Cup in 1993, we played Los Angeles. It was a tremendous series. We're out in LA. My best friend, John McDonald, who's here tonight, is Captain McDonald in the U.S. Navy. He was going to start Navy SEAL training, BUDS. And we had two very different career paths, but I could not be more proud of any person that has been in my life than Captain John McDonald. Please stand up, Johnny. Please. If there's one person that I hope my sons idolize and emulate, it would be John, and the men and women like him that represent this and allow us to do this on a nightly basis and allow us to play in the Boston Garden a night like last night. One of the things, I'm gonna start from the end here. I'm not gonna be that long, trust me. Ella, I'm losing you over there. I know, honey, stay with me. Stay with me, baby. I know, you're doing great. When I was on the search committee for the new executive director, 3 other Americans on the committee, by the way. That was interesting. We were interviewing one of the candidates, and he said something to me that stuck with me. He said, "Our history defines us." And this was someone that had been a player. He was a lawyer, an agent. He'd been around for a long time. He actually worked at the Players Association previously, and he said, "Our history defines us," and started to talk about how important it was that players understand how we got where we are today. But that really stuck to me. And when I look down this side of the room over here, that's my history right here. There's so many people. When I hear Coach Belisle speak, I still get goosebumps. And I think back to the old Mount St. Charles Arena that's still standing there with the chicken wire. There's no glass around there. There's no hiding in that rink. It was about as big as a phone booth, and we grew up in that rink. My brother and I, John Allen, with Bill's son Peter, when I was in the 7th and 8th grade. Chris said he had the keys to his rink. Bill would leave the rink open for me, Peter, my brother, John Allen, and we'd skate for 6-7 hours a day, all summer long. Bill would go out and get us Burger King. Probably wasn't the best thing to feed us, Bill, but go out and get us Burger King, and we just skated. And that our kids today, they don't get that. Kids just don't get that. Everything's structured, everything's organized, and I think USA Hockey's doing a great job, by the way, in trying to right some of those wrongs with the ADM and all those things. But when I look down this side of the room, I see Billy Bennett, Jimmy Bennett, Pat Menachia. These are names in Rhode Island hockey. Mac Bennett, who's now playing in Montreal system. The Bennett family in general. I made a joke last night. I was talking to someone. I said they're kind of like the Kennedys of politics of Rhode Island hockey. Everyone kind of looked at me funny, and I said, if you're a Rhode Islander, you know the Bennett family. Their father Harvey came and he played for the Rhode Island Reds, which was the Boston Bruins farm team, and fell in love with Providence. Decided to stay there, and he had 5 kids. 3 of them played in the NHL. Jimmy is the runt of the litter, 6 feet tall. Billy's 6'7". You still have a great head of hair on you, Billy. He looks like he's about 50 years old. And this was my inspiration. Kurt Bennett played for St. Louis and Atlanta, and Billy played for the Hartford Whalers and Boston Bruins. Harvey Jr. played for St. Louis and Philadelphia, and they had the old Broad Street Bullies. And, I think back, that's why I wanted to be a hockey player. I'm watching these guys. I'm watching Jimmy play at Brown University. Pat Menachia, I watched him play at Brown University, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be one of these guys. But it's just a dream when you're a kid, It's just a dream. And, then, my dad, obviously, the brains behind the operation, I guess, if you want to call it that. My dad was a student of the game. He grew up in Providence. He was a rink rat. If you don't know what a rink rat was back then, the Providence Reds, they used to let the kids go on and take care of the ice after. Then they let them skate at midnight. And he was the one Jewish kid in the mix with a bunch of Italians there, and fell in love with the game of hockey when he was a kid, and he gave that gift to me. Didn't hurt that he married a French-Canadian woman, my mother Eileen, who came from a family of 12, and he thought, well, the 44 cousins are going to be playing hockey, so I better get this kid started playing hockey. So, the rest is history. I couldn't ask for more supporting, loving parents. It's one thing to raise a hockey player in a hockey hotbed. You know, we've heard stories tonight. Minnesota and New England was basically where he came, but not an awful lot of hockey players came from New Jersey. I don't know if you guys know that, but there really weren't. And you know, my dad started his own programs, and he learned from guys like Jerry Menard, who I'm throwing names out that you guys have no idea, but this guy was just an encyclopedia of knowledge for hockey. The Bennett family, obviously. I remember summering and spending summers going to Harvey Bennett's hockey school, things like that. So, you know, that led me to Mount St. Charles. And there's no way to describe Mount St. Charles, honestly. It's boot camp for kids. There's no question about it. And, you know, I'm watching Bill walk around with the cane. I think he's trying to get some sympathy, but he was putting it down every 5 or 6 steps. There's no way that Bill needs a cane right now, because I guarantee you he's going on the ice with the kids still. There's no question about it. His son David, his other son Peter, just amazing hockey family, amazing hockey family. The greatest single thing about Bill Belisle, okay, for every single NHL player, for every single Division I college player that he produced, there's 20 or 30 other kids that have amazing lives because of him, that learn the value of hard work and dedication and things like that. All the adjectives we use to describe hockey, we learn that with Bill Belisle every single day. I was fortunate that we had our own rink at the school, but you know, Bill really made you come to work every single day, and that is such an important lesson, such an important lesson. For that, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. You know, there's no way we can sit up here and thank every single person, but there really are so many people that had such a great impact in my career. I think to the team that I was drafted by, Montreal, not a greater franchise in the history of pro sports. Montreal, and standing up here before you, I honestly believe that if I hadn't been drafted to Montreal, there is no way in this world that I play 20 years. There's no way I played 10 years. I had a coach by the name of Jacques Laperriere. He coached Chelly, he coached guys like Larry Robinson, Rick Green. I mean, you go down the list of guys that came out of that organization, Eric Desjardins, Sylvain Lefebvre. The list goes on and on. We learned how to play NHL hockey from Jacques Laperriere. We learned. It was plain and simple. I knew how to rush the puck. I had a decent shot. I could skate, I could move well, but I did not know how to play defense until I came into Montreal and learned from Jacques Laperriere. If I would have been drafted by another team, could it have happened? Absolutely. But that was one of the single most important things that happened in my career. You know, we talk about destiny, talk about fate, why things happen. That I finally figured out that's why my dad made my mom use the French spelling for Matthew, because nobody in New Jersey could figure it out, you know? And if you thought I had it bad, my brother Jean-Alain over there, go try to spell that. Yeah. You know, so the other team that I think you know, I really need to mention that I had such a great time and such great memories on was Detroit. And Montreal was my first stint. I played 5.5 years there, and then I was in Detroit for about 4 years. And you look at that roster, I mean, top to bottom, it was just Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. They were in the Hall of Fame before they even hung them up. Stevie Y, Chelly, Fedorov, Dom Hasek, I mean, come on, Brett Hull, the list goes on and on. And I'm sitting there as, I think I was 32 at the time. I'm sitting there as a 32-year-old going, I'm a young guy again. I'm looking around, hey, this isn't too bad. And I kid you not, one of the reasons why I ended up playing 21 years was because I wanted to play 1 year longer than Chelly. What else could motivate you to want to play 20 years? That was a long time. I saw a quote from Ray Whitney, who is another great teammate and good friend. I saw a quote from him. He was doing an interview. It was when training camps were open right after he retired. and he said, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. And I'm like, that's exactly how I felt. I felt just like that. So, we're talking about teams, but, there was always something special about putting on your country's colors. There's no question about it. As an aside, it wasn't always so special. Teddy Donato reminded me tonight of our experience. We were in Russia. We were at our World Junior tournament in Moscow when it was still communist Russia, and we got over there, and we had Mike Modano, Jeremy Roenick, Teddy, myself. We had some really good players. We were missing Leachy. He was with the Olympic team. I think he was eligible, but he was traveling with the Olympic team. But we had a really rough time over there, boy. We had a rough time. He reminded me of a brawl that we had underneath the stands with the Czech team, and it was basically like we were in underneath was like a maze full of rooms, and John LeClair's standing in front of me, and one of the Czech players just suckered him for no reason, and then next thing you know, we're in this hallway. Brawl breaks out. I get shoved through a door. 2 guys on top of me. I'm laying on a couch, and the whole place just erupts. We lost that game 8-0, and it turned out to be a great tournament. But that was one of my early U.S. hockey experiences, and a memorable one. I wasn't sure whether to bring that one up tonight, but I figure you go from that to 96. 96, that was just an amazing team, an amazing experience, and so if you want to talk night and day, that's exactly what happened. But and I think Ronnie would probably tell you the same thing. From the day we stepped on the ice in Providence, that was a special team. I think we all felt that we were a team of destiny, team of fate, and the guys were flying. It was some of the best hockey that I ever played in my whole career. It was some of the best hockey that I think that anyone's ever seen, and we just had an amazing tournament from the beginning, the exhibition schedule right through to the end. It was just such a great time, such a great group of guys, and we just all felt like we were doing something really important, and that was just one of the most amazing experiences that I ever had in my career. And when I look here around the room, Leachy, Chelly, obviously, Brian Smolenski, Smoke. There were so many guys on that team. There were unsung heroes. There were guys that played 2 minutes, guys that played 10 minutes. Nobody complained. No one was upset. Everybody was in it together. We had 25 guys, and it was just an amazing tournament. And just one quick funny story on that as an aside. Ronnie was. He did a great job. He was very inspirational. He would come in and give great speeches. I'm thinking, this guy's super. Why is it that his players don't like him so much that play on his team? But before the finals, right before the finals, we're getting ready. We're in Philly. I think it was the first game in Philly's new arena, and we're getting ready to go out. And everybody's dressed up. Ronnie's, I want you there a little bit early. Everybody ready. Comes in, and he puts on the television monitor, he puts the opening scene from Patton on. And so we're sitting there, and we're watching the opening scene of Patton, and everybody's kind of chuckling at first, and then after a few minutes, everyone's going, hey, yeah, let's go get him, guys, come on, let's go get him. That turned out to be the only game in the tournament we lost, but I was like, this is unbelievable, this guy's great. Good, that was super, Ronnie. So anyway, listen, we've been here a long time. Ella, you still here with me, honey? Staying? Okay, thank you. There's so many people. I just have to name some names here. Teammates: Brian Smolenski, Nikki Lidstrom, Rob Blake, George Peros. George, where are you? My God, you could not have a better teammate than George Peros. This guy. I'm so fortunate. These guys, they're not only great teammates, but I consider them lifelong friends. And if you're lucky to leave this game with some 2 or 3 or 4 good friends. I feel so fortunate that the guys sitting in this room, on top of guys like Robert Lang, Thomas Holmstrom, Glenn Murray. I mean, I was so fortunate to play with so many. As you saw on the intro clip, I had a lot of different jerseys on. Everybody knows that, but every single one was special. Every single one, even Atlanta. I got to live next to my brother in Atlanta, and I had just a great year. Our kids got to know each other all over again, and it was really a special year for me, being able to spend that time with my brother. Off the ice, the guys that trained me, we were talking about, Chris was talking about Mike Boyle, and I had those guys too. In California, I had T.R. Goodman and Frank Cassavetes, two of the greatest guys, most caring. They were so involved in everything that we did. Chelly was the first one to start with them, but a whole bunch of guys ended up out there. Guys like Rick Tocchet, Bob Probert, God rest his soul, Bobby. The Burrays. I mean, it's just the list. Mario Lemieux's out there. Sidney Crosby's out there. And it was just an incredible way to train. And I never learned how to train until I went out to train with TR. And that was probably about 6 years into my career when I was 25, 26. The year before the World Cup, Pat Menachie, I trained with him at La Palestra. Pat, I mentioned earlier, Brown University, just unbelievable trainer. I trained that whole summer with Pat, and he got me in tremendous shape heading into the World Cup of hockey. You can't do it without these people. You really can't. It takes a village. My dad used to always say, a hockey player, it's like putting pieces of a puzzle together. And there are so many different pieces, so many moving parts. If this happened, then this will happen. If this doesn't happen, then that won't happen. And the people that helped me off the ice, my great friends, thank you so much for coming tonight. And that brings me to the 5 most important people in my life. We all talk about, our wives tonight. I really don't think people understand what the wife of a professional athlete, a professional hockey player has to do, has to go through. And, keeping the kids quiet when it's time for the afternoon nap. The kids get sick. We don't want to get the team sick. So you go down in the basement, I'll make sure the kids are fine. Getting them to school in the morning. I remember one year in LA, we start the season, a 2-week road trip. We come home for a day, and then we go on another 2-week road trip. I mean, these women are raising families on their own. Even when you're home, you're not home as a player. And there is no way I would have ever been able to have the career I had without my awesome wife, Shannon. And, you can't do it justice. There's no question about it. The kids, I mean, I joke with everyone that, that I think we have wonderful kids. And, everyone always tells me, oh, they're so polite, they're so great. And I say, it really wasn't me. It's my wife, Shannon. She was the one that raised these kids. And it's, there's truth in jest. She is actually the one that raised these kids. And every night I went out, I wanted to make them proud. Every night I went out. Ella didn't get to see me play that much. And for that, you got the highlights now. If I can, indulge me for 1 minute. Can everyone come up, please? Shannon, Ella, Abby, Maddie, please come up. Micah. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I really am. And did it all for these guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for going through everything that you went through for me to stand here today. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good night.